Hi there, hello, it's me, your old pal Avian and Loaded, and it's another action figure obsession video. So many action figure obsession videos. I remember when there was like two, and I was, a two-parter about the 3 3/4 inch G.I. Joe 25th anniversary of a real American hero, the Cobra Bat, and then the Snake Eyes. And boy, I was like, well, that was fun. I don't know if I'm ever going to do that again. And here we are, and it's a beautiful day, to quote Marge Gunderson. Um, so just arming up some of my more problematic or least loved figures in my collection. Part of having an action figure obsession is having figures that you don't love, but you just sense that there's something about them, or there's some reason why you want to hang on to them anyway. Like old Darwin here. This is my final boss, big bastard Darwin, uh, that I customized after the neck joint broke. I have 3 Darwins, thanks to Anthony's Customs and the obsession that he gave me for Darwin. Where's the regular Darwin? Is regular Darwin within reach? Go see if Darwin can Darwin come out and play. There we are. Oh, there. Oh, okay. Well, I guess the regular Darwin is in my X-Men display now on the X-Men shelf. This is my extra special Infinity Darwin, who has somehow managed to finagle the Infinity Gauntlet away from Spider-Man, who used it to bring Gwen Stacy back from the dead, and then she became Spinneret. And I think she's still Spinneret, so apparently whatever Peter Parker did was effective. But he has now passed the Infinity Gauntlet, or had it taken from him by Darwin. The one and only. Beautiful. Beautiful head sculpt. And it is a beautiful head sculpt, and a terrible use of the incredibly obsolete and outdated and antiquated Pizza Spider-Man body, which was so loved and so adored in 2015, and now is so reviled and cursed. And, I still have quite a few figures on this body, or on a body that evolved out of this body. Like the retro Mr. Fantastic evolved out of this body. The leader evolved actually out of the Reed Richards body. You can pull his arms out and find out for yourself, because Reed Richards has removable arms. And the leader does too, which means, think about it now, if you're a Kitbasher and you like Marvel Legends, you know what that means? Because I've done it. You can put the lab coat on the leader. The arms aren't quite a good fit, but you can make it work for photography. They're a little loose in the socket, if I recall correctly, but the leader, the most recent Marvel Legends leader in that orange and black jumpsuit, you can get him into a lab coat from Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic from the Retro Fantastic 4 line, if you're so inclined to do so for photography. And of course, the Infinity Gauntlet here comes from Adam Warlock. This is one of the few good ideas the Marvel Legends team has had in this decade, which was to make the gauntlet interchangeable with other characters. Now, you can't use it with all characters. They have to have a somewhat slim and narrow forearm, but I think that it will work with, it certainly would work with Bucky Cap, I think. And this is assuming, by the way, that the figure doesn't have a big gauntlet on their wrist anyway that is not removable, because if it does, then that won't work. It has to be a slim, slender, and unencumbered, clear shot at a forearm of a small to medium sized figure. So I think it works with Bucky Cap. It works with Pizza Spider-Man body. It should work. I think with Vulcan. I think it works with the Vulcan body mold. Certainly, the Sunfire body mold, which I think is the one that most recent Adam Warlock that this Infinity Gauntlet came with. I think it would work on that one. And I'm off to the races again with another digression. It's a digression within a digression, because here he is, and he's still like, you haven't finished the first digression, motherfucker. Yeah, this is the Darwin body. This is the first Darwin that I ever bought, and I paid full price for him. And popping the heads on and off, his neck snapped because of that obsolete disc hinge neck joint that Hasbro insists on using, that gives you limited articulation in terms of being able to have human-looking expressions, but it does let it look up all the way, and it's sort of the thunderclap effect all over again. You know, some of the fanboys only want the figure to be able to look up all the way, so that they can look like they're flying through space as they zoom around their living room. Zoom, zoom, zoom around the living room. Zoom, zoom. But the ultimate price of that disc hinge is poor articulation, and in this case, no articulation, because I had to super glue the neck back together with the broken pieces, and now if I take this head off, I probably will have nothing. Nothing with a side of nothing. But, yeah, I took the Mezco raincoat, trench coat from John Constantine, and I plopped it on this guy just to see what would it look like. Kind of a space alien guy walking around in a trench coat. What's he up to? Well, who knows? But he has the head from it's the alternate head from the Forgotten Realms Dungeons and Dragon Drizzt figure that came with the Black Panther, the Guinevere figure. So he's over here on the sidelines in his trench coat looking sketchy. And then there's these guys. I swear to God, action figure obsession, action figure obsession, action figure obsession. Last night I did not sleep super well, but I did get a few hours, and the last, I'm guessing, segment of my sleep was spent dreaming about this guy. And this never happens. I don't dream about action figures, my friends. And until yesterday, or the night before last, I didn't dream about General Hospital either. But I had that General Hospital, the dream that I was invited to dinner with the cast of General Hospital. So ridiculous. I mean, I'd go, don't get me wrong. I'd love to chow down with all those guys. But yeah, so yeah, it's my favorite show. It has been for almost a half a century. I don't know what to tell you. I don't watch it. I haven't watched it consistently. I certainly haven't seen every episode, but I've seen more episodes than not since 1980. Luke and Laura's Wedding. How could you not watch? Elizabeth Taylor was a guest star. It's so bizarre that Elizabeth Taylor was going to be on a soap opera. I had to check it out, and they hooked me. They hooked me right away, day one. Anyway, this is the Hasbro Marvel Legends, Marvel Cinematic Universe, aka MCU, John Walker Captain America. It was a Walmart exclusive. Don't say Kmart. Don't say Kmart. Don't say Kmart. It's a Walmart exclusive. It was. And it came in a bright blue, very kind of cool looking package that I don't think they've ever used since. Certainly not that design. And then the really cool thing was when this character debuted in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier TV series on Disney Plus, they actually showed the figure in the box because it was part of his marketing campaign to make the people in the MCU universe accept that Steve Rogers had retired or whatever had happened to him in the storyline. I'm not sure if people thought he retired or died. But to make John Walker sellable as the new Captain America, they had a huge marketing push in the show, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And one of the things that they did was sell action figures of him. And it was absolutely trippy when I finally got one in hand to see that figure in that box that I had seen on the TV show. It was really, really trippy. Now, Steve Rogers is Captain America. Hashtag Steve Rogers is Captain America. There is no other Captain America. There is no other Captain America that matters. This, of course, is a comic book Captain America, which matters much more than the MCU Captain America. And if it doesn't, you need to reassess your priorities. But in the MCU, you know, in spoilers for Avengers Endgame, which came out, 38 years ago? Steve Rogers, he lived a full and long life back in the past with Peggy Carter, and then he came back and he gave his shield to Sam Wilson. And because reasons, the government ended up with it, and they gave it to John Walker here. John Walker, in the comics and in the movies, is a troubled man. He's seen some shit, but he's a kind of a weak man. He's not strong. He's angry, he's defiant, but he's also obedient to the government, and no matter what they tell him to do, he does it for quite some time in the MCU. Eventually, he seems to have wised up a little bit by the time of Thunderbolts, but I'm still not sure he's quote-unquote a good man or a hero or a protagonist. John Walker, Captain America, always seems to me to be an antagonist. And you know what? I should have grabbed my Comic US Agent figure, but I forgot. So, boo on me. I'm not getting up. It's too early and I haven't had enough caffeine. But I had a few figures here. The World War II, the very early, very short Steve Rogers, Chris Evans as Captain America World War II version from, I think, 2012, or around the time of 2012, somewhere in there. And then let's just bring them all back in, I guess. This is the Agent Everett Ross from, I think, Wakanda Forever. I think it was that wave. Not 100% sure. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Wakanda Forever. Hashtag Wakanda Forever. So the Everett Ross one, I just bought a lot of them. I bought like 6 or 7. I mean, they were $10 at Ollie's. And it's a suited body, and if you use some heat and work the feet, remember, that's the mantra to get these suited guys on the Coulson Chameleon body to stand up. Use some heat, work the feet. If you do that with these shitty little, thin little, poorly designed little, no real peg hole feet on the Coulson / Chameleon body mold, or at least the legs and feet, because some other bodies do share these same legs and feet, I believe. Oh, my back is bothering me this morning, too. Isn't that awesome? Oh, what a drag it is getting old. Anyway, speaking of old, here's the Red Skull. He's almost a century old now in comic book history. And I guess age-wise, chronologically, in the comics, he'd be over a century old, since he would have had to have been born sometime probably in the early 20s to become the Red Skull in time for, all the fun. Maybe even the late teens. The late 19 teens, if that rings a bell. But I've got all these extra Everett Ross bodies. I mean, I have an Everett Ross in my Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. display, and I have, there's somebody else around here wearing that suit right on the work table. I know there is, but it doesn't matter. It's neither here nor there. It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant, my friends. I had this one. It had the Tom Holland grinning head on it, that smiling, grinning, goofy Tom Holland head. This one right here. Yeah. Hey, it's me, your old buddy Tom Holland. Look how happy I am. I'm so happy to see you, everybody. Yeah, I'm happy to be. Oh, yeah. Zendaya, you're so beautiful. It just makes me so happy. Oh, yeah. Tom Holland head from the 2-pack with Ned Leeds. I don't like that head. Nobody likes that head. It's bad head. Nobody likes bad head. So I thought, I've got extra Red Skull heads because all my MCU Red Skull / Hydra Troopers I turned into Hydra Troopers with the helmeted head that came with it. And I never got the deluxe Red Skull that had like the longer coat or any of that stuff. That was around the time that I was really, really, really starting to phase out of MCU figures, despite the fact that you're looking at 3 of them here on the screen, I realize. But in my defense, one of them is very old, 2012 Captain America on the left there. Old and janky and too short, and his hips are kind of weird, and you see the way his legs are splayed out. He's not that easy to stand. He's not a great figure. He was probably a great figure for the time. He's not a great figure for now. He's not a great figure for now. But I thought, wouldn't it be fun? Wouldn't it be fun, everybody? Because I have the Red Skull from the was the Zemnu Build-A-Figure wave, the Bring on the Bad Guys wave. I have that Red Skull in his green jumpsuit, his Jack Kirby green jumpsuit. And I have him in my Hydra display. But wouldn't it be fun if there was like a modern Red Skull running around? Because there always is. I mean, he dies and he comes back, and he dies and he comes back, just like fascism. Dies and it's now come back. And wouldn't it be fun to have like a modern Red Skull? And I've got all these different, and I have quite a few. It's very weird how many Red Skulls I have. I have the Red Skull from the Red Onslaught Build-A-Figure head, which is really big and needs to be put on like a really big, brutish, like almost Hulk-sized body, because that Red Onslaught figure was big. And I don't really have a body for that Red Skull head, but I hang on to it. Action figure obsession trait number 32. You know, you hang on to good heads that you don't have a body for right now, because eventually you might have a good body for it, or in this case a bad body, but a body that works, a body that will get the job done. This is the Everett Ross body for my modern Red Skull, and this would be an incarnation of Red Skull where, you know, getting his powers did not include being disfigured all over his epidermis, rather just his, you know, he just wears the mask of a Red Skull. So that's why, you know, you can see Everett Ross's neck under there. That is not Everett Ross's neck. That is Johann Schmidt's neck. These are not the droids you were looking for, etc. Does he look good as an intimidating modern Red Skull, as a Red Skull that might, you know, get a visit from an authoritarian head of state in his, you know, Eastern European dictatorship, East Smoldovistan, perhaps, or maybe he's the president of South Smoldovistan, and maybe he's buddies with, oh, I should have grabbed him, he was right there, too, the Iron King. Maybe this modern Red Skull is aligning himself with the Iron King, and maybe when I do my Avengers display, maybe the two of them will be hanging out, or my Avengers Enemies display, I should say. I'm still working on that. You got to hold me to it, too. Keep me accountable. I got to finish that Avengers Antagonists, Avengers Enemies, Avengers Supervillains shelf. I have all the figures together, and I'm slowly accepting which shelf is going to have to just be wiped clean and to start over. And then I'm going to see, the problem is, friends, I'm going to let you in on a secret. The problem is that when I clear off the shelf full of figures, has like 40 figures on it, that is going to become the Avengers Supervillains shelf. People like Taskmaster and Loki and the modern Red Skull right here, right? Then I got 40 figures that I cleared off that shelf, and I got to put them in the box. And then what the hell do I do? You know what I probably do? I probably slide it under a bed or into a closet, and 5 years from now you come back for another edition of, what's in the box? And I'm like, I don't remember what's in this box. And at some point I'll be looking at it and go, oh, that one. Yeah. That must have been all that stuff that I took off the shelf to create my marvelous, magnificent, luminous, extraordinary Avengers Supervillains display. That's what it's going to be, if you remember to remind me and hold me to it. So we have the Everett Ross Marvel Legends MCU body, I think from Wakanda Forever. Ironically, putting a Wakanda Forever or a Red Skull head on Wakanda Forever must be very humiliating for Johann. Suck it up, Buttercup. And then he has the worst, in my opinion, #worst weapon in the G.I. Joe Classified line. It's a weird rifle that comes with, or maybe it's a machine pistol that comes with, I think the first time we saw it in the G.I. Joe Classified series was with the Alley Viper. And it's just an ugly piece of work. It's a mishmash with its, you know, it's got that scope on top on the rail there, and it's got the handle here, and it's got the weird looking half moon buttstock, and it's got that. Can you see that thing just under the buttstock, just under the half moon, that long thing sticking out? Boy, I hope that doesn't get me demonetized talking about the long thing sticking out. But that's like the magazine, and it just looks so super weird on there. Look at the silhouette of that pistol. You know, pretend the hand isn't there, because I'm not taking it out. I had a hell of a time getting the hand in on the grip and the trigger finger in the trigger guard, because that magazine is so weirdly placed that you knock it out every time you try to put it into a figure's hands. It's a very strange thing. It's an ugly weapon. I have a whole bunch of them because, as I say, it came with the Alley Viper and it came with a bunch of other figures. Generally speaking, especially with G.I. Joe Classified, if there's one weapon that comes in a mold with a bunch of other weapons, when they reissue, you know, when they want one of those weapons, they'll reissue the whole slew of weapons with characters. And you're like, well, why does that guy have this kind of weapon? He'd never use that. Well, because it's all in the same mold. And the easiest, cheapest thing for them to do is just friggin' make it and give a character a bunch of weapons that he are inappropriate or unrealistic for him or her. And G.I. Joe Classified does that a lot. Well, as a consequence of that, once I kit out my Joes, sometimes there's leftover weapons because they give you these extra weapons from the mold. And I have a lot of this one. I have a lot of these sort of AR-looking, almost good weapons that the Alley Viper also came with. I thought about giving him one of those, but I don't think he deserves it. Everett Ross body, unwanted Red Skull head. Sort of desperation kit bash. Not really desperation, but boredom, I guess. But I also thought, and this is, part of the ingenuity of an action figure obsession when you're thinking about your kit bashes, I also thought about the psychology of it. And it's just an ugly, blunt-looking weapon. There's no doubt that it could probably do some damage, but it's unpleasant to look at, and it's ugly, and it's misshapen and grotesque. It's ugly, and it's misshapen and grotesque and unpleasant, and nobody really wants that weapon. Nobody wants that weapon. So who's it appropriate for? Here he is, right here. Here's your guy, Johann Schmidt. Former Hydra leader, Johann Schmidt, now a modern Red Skull. So that's what I gave him. No need to really talk at length about this. This Valverse Action Force Thompson submachine gun has been hanging around on the work table for a while. I gave the Marvel one to the Marvel Legends one to the World War II Wolverine that it came with. Because that, I was trying to zhuzh him up, giving him the Valverse one, but I actually think the Marvel one looks better for that figure, so he has his weapon back. And the inheritor of the Valverse one is now the World War II Captain America, the really tiny, really short kit-bashed version, because the head had paint scraped off, and I had to put a different head on him. It's the one from the time travel suit in Avengers Endgame, and I'm talking really fast, and I'm, just about done here, I think. Just about done. But that's why this old, outdated Captain America gets the, amazingly, the Valverse Thompson submachine gun, which is probably worth more than the figure is. That's something else that also amuses me, is giving them weapons that are worth more than the figure is. Speaking of which, finally, John Walker Captain America here from Captain America and, was it Falcon and the Winter Soldier? It was Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I believe was the name of the TV show that he made his debut in as Captain America, as the hard-to-sell-to-America Captain America, especially once he started cutting off the heads of, victims that weren't resisting arrest and that sort of thing. Bad guy John Walker. He's just a bad guy as far as I'm concerned. Not a good guy, John Walker. Not in the comics. Not in the... I don't think I ever realized before he has the patches on his shoulders. Whoops. And when I do make these little discoveries, I do like to point them out to you. That is these colors don't run. Flag sort of appears that he's charging into battle. That's why you have the backwards flag on some characters in G.I. Joe Classified, and apparently now in Marvel Legends, too. I don't know if there's anything else to say. I'll give him the hand cannon from the G.I. Joe, or not G.I. Joe, the Valverse Action Force line, the really, really nice revolver. More than anything, it reminds me of the revolver that Daredevil had in his hand in Daredevil number 191, the last issue that Frank Miller wrote of his regular run there, with inks by Terry Austin instead of Klaus Janson. So that issue where he, spoilers, has a long talk with Bullseye with a gun very much like that in his hand. And I always liked that weapon in the Valverse line, simply because it does look like that weapon from that issue of Daredevil number 191. Maybe I should do a photo shoot with Daredevil wielding that pistol. But it is a big accessory. And I had a little bit of trouble getting into John Walker's hands, but I don't really care enough about John Walker to care about risking a little damage to his hand in order to get a good shot. Hopefully this is a good shot. What do you think? Maybe this way with the Dutch angles for these guys, because they're all a little off-kilter in one way or the other. Thanks for watching this edition of Action Figure Obsession here on the Avian and Loaded channel. Appreciate you stopping by. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. Do it. I'm telling you, do it now. Leave a comment if you have any thoughts or feelings or observations or theories about the MCU or John Walker or the ancient Captain America over there on the left, or my new, beautiful new Johann Schmidt Red Skull Kitbash that I just did just now and couldn't wait to hop on the internet to tell you all about it. And here we are, and it's a beautiful day, as Marge Gunderson once said. You ever seen the movie Fargo? If not, you're missing out. One of the best movies of all time. Old Fargo and Marge Gunderson, certainly in my top 10 list of the greatest characters in all of cinema history. Oh, yeah. All right, that'll do it. Thank you very, very much for spending about 25 and a half minutes of your time with me today, and I will see you on the next Action Figure Obsession.